So our focus this week, our special, is Trump, the United States President, the 45th President of the United States of America. We began hearing the impeach word. That is quite distant, okay? It's a bit far out. The United States is very stable. It took Nixon, from the initial revelations to him resigning almost a year. But Trump is not as professional as Nixon. In any case, we're hearing the impeach word, and we've seen some reactions. The biggest worry for Trump, there are lots of scandals, of course. He had lots of scandals also during the campaign, is an obstruction of justice. So Trump trying to influence an investigation basically against him. This is a quick run on events. In February, Trump asked Comey to let Flynn go. Flynn is the disgraced national security advisor that lied to Congress, lied to the vice president, and was forced to leave after around 3 weeks. Trump tried to ask the FBI not to get into that investigation, which could have impacted him as well. In March, Comey said there is an investigation. He said that publicly. In April, beginning of May, Trump fired Comey. That was the big event. And at first, the White House tried to say it was because of professional recommendation, but then Trump said on television that he always wanted to fire Comey. And we're seeing the administration scrambling. Each day we have new revelations. Like Trump said, Comey's a nut job, and that he boasted to the Russian foreign minister that he finally got rid of Comey. In any case, it seems that Trump is in a mess here. So finally, the Department of Justice announced a special investigation, but it could go quite slowly. The investigator, the former FBI director, Mueller, he is known to be very thorough, has high integrity, highly respected, but being thorough also means being quite slow, so it may take a long time. One White House official is already eyed by the FBI investigation, and it'll be a big show next week when Comey will testify sometime after the Memorial Day weekend. So here we have perhaps the suspect. At the bottom, Steve Bannon, right-wing extremist with Donald Trump. And up there we have, George W. Bush, former president, with Mueller. He nominated Mueller 1 week before September 11th. In any case, let's talk about markets, not only about politics, which are fascinating. We've seen a big sell-off in stocks last Wednesday with all this talk about obstruction of justice, but that didn't last that long. The big thought is, if there's no recession, we shouldn't worry. Stocks are still valuable, company profits are still high, everything's okay. So watch out for bank stocks, because bank stocks did rise on hopes for deregulation, and if Trump is stuck, then deregulation will not work. Doing a big number on Dodd-Frank will just not happen. But the dollar was hurt. Why? So the dollar rallied back at the end of 2016 on hopes for tax cuts and infrastructure, and now there's uncertainty about both of these. So it's an undoing of the dollar rally, and uncertainty could also be hurting the wider U.S. economy, because we don't know what the budget is going to be. The administration presented a new budget while Trump was abroad, and it seems to be sort of dead on arrival. Growth was already slow in the United States. We'll have an update later this week. And so far only tourism directly suffers from Trump because of all the talk about the travel ban. So we have some reports about suffering there, but the wider economy so far continues growing slowly. It began before Trump, the slow growth, but in any case, the dollar is less hopeful. So the dollar remains under pressure. We've seen some kind of a comeback today, yesterday, but I expect the dollar to continue suffering as long as we have this constant inflow of news from the Washington Post, from the New York Times, from other outlets. Even Fox News is covering all this stuff. Special counsel, the work of Mueller, could take quite a long time. But so far, things are moving quite fast again. So the news reports are much faster than the investigation. well, the news reports in many cases rely on leaks. Impeachment talk likely to increase, and if we have more talk about an impeachment of the president, the dollar will likely be under pressure. Okay? Now, what can happen with the investigation? It could take months, it could take years. If Trump is acquitted, he's innocent, then the dollar could rally because we have a big political cloud removed from the administration and they could continue pursuing their agenda. But if Trump is found guilty of obstruction, I would expect more uncertainty and more pressure. But if we do reach an impeachment, when we have all these proceedings, it's quite a complicated process. It could go very, very slowly. I expect more pressure on the US dollar, but lots of choppiness, moves in all directions. And if we find ourselves in a year from now, or months, or I don't know, at some point with this guy, Mike Pence, as the president of the United States, I believe we'll see a buy the rumor, sell the fact. Pence is not a panacea, he's not superstar president, but he's still a normal Republican, a bit more predictable than Trump, at least. Perhaps not big on reforms, but at least fewer scandals, more quiet, less political drama to influence the US dollar. Okay, that's a bit far out. We might not reach an impeachment at all, but it seems that Trump is in trouble. So to conclude, politics still have a big influence on the US dollar. Less on stocks, company profits matter more than the latest political scandal. Watch out for the immediate next big thing is Comey's testimony next week. The time will be announced. And the real economy, the Fed, of course, still matter. Okay?